YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Today I got the Indianapolis Colts record prediction for 2021 season, going game by game, giving you my prediction, and then we go back and do best case and worst case scenario, in my opinion. Did the Titans already, still got the Jags and Texans to do, and we're doing this for every single team. We got a bunch up already. You'll find a playlist with these on the channel here. Follow our Twitter. You guys are voting along the way who wins each division. You'll eventually create a playoff field and more, the predictions, and that'll create a video, my predictions for the playoffs, on the way in the near future as well. So like, subscribe, follow that Twitter. You guys know the drill, all that. We much appreciate it. Appreciate the support here lately. It's been awesome. The Colts, well, playoffpredictors.com. That's the website we're using, of course. So check it out, play along. Colts are a tough team this year because a tough team to predict because Carson Wentz, where's he going to be at? It's very tough to predict. It's just kind of a shot in the dark there, what you got to predict with him. He played like arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in football last year, which was a bit surprising. It's been a while since we seen him play good football, so it's really tough to what to expect. I'm a big fan of Frank Reich and his system and his play calling. So I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was last year, Carson Wentz, that is. And I absolutely love this offensive line here. Definitely one of the best, maybe the best in football. And a tough defense. Last year, what I really loved is it's kind of just a bunch of football players out there flying around the field, technicians, very sound. So we'll see if that continues on here. But yeah, the Colts, I think it's a really tough schedule, by the way. I thought this was one of the tougher schedules in all of football for this year. So a tough schedule. I think it could take a little bit of time to get Carson Wentz going. I think he could start off a little, it makes sense to me. I think as it kind of goes on here, I think he can get better. I do think it's a pretty balanced team, so that definitely helps. Having the offensive line helps. Week 1, it's already tough right off the bat. Seattle's usually tough early on. They have that. Ooh, it's a tough one right off the bat. Remember last year the Colts surprisingly lost to the Jags, and I tell you guys every year, don't take anything away from week 1. You cannot make predictions or assumptions off week 1. It's random. The Jags fans got a little excited. I tried to calm them down. So that was a surprise. It meant nothing. So anything can happen here in week 1. Man, I'm back and forth on this one because, Russell Wilson gets that ball downfield at a high level early on, at all times really, but especially early on. I do think the pass defense of the Colts could be better. They run a lot of cover 2. The very good quarterbacks seem to be able to hit that whole shot in the cover 2, no problem. Will the Colts continue running that, though? But then on the other side of things, the Seahawks present very little pass rush, and that's kind of Carson Wentz's problem. And on top of that, facing the pressure, on top of that, the Colts offensive line is ridiculous. I think the Colts receivers could have a pretty good day against the second. I'm going to go with the Colts here. I'm feeling them in week 1. Hopefully not a poor week 1 outing like last year. That's one I can be very much back and forth on. I'm going to go Colts. That's tough, though, because do I see Carson Wentz, right off the bat? I could see it. I could see week 1 as random things. I can see him starting off ridiculous and kind of people get, overact a little bit. That's a good game, though. Rams and Colts. Aaron Donald could be a problem in this one, but if there's an offensive line that can maybe hold it down, it could be the Colts offensive line. But yeah, I think the Rams secondary will probably take away the passing game for the most part. It's not going to take it away completely. And I think Stafford could have a day on the. Yeah, I like the Rams in that matchup. Both sides of the ball, I think they present some not really problems, but a matchup problem. Colts Titans, yeah, it was tough to, that's the division rival right now. That's the opponent right now, the Titans, because it's the Colts or the Titans division. We feel like other teams, I like where they're heading, especially the Jags. It's tough that they play them early on. You rather play them later when maybe Carson Wentz is in his prime of the season, maybe. So it's pretty tough they play them twice early on. I did the Titans video. I did say if a team was going to win both, it would be the Titans because they play them early on. The Titans are a pretty good team. But I did have them splitting. It's tough, though. It's tough. Colts Dolphins. It's a tough matchup here. The beginning part of the schedule is tough. They almost got to win. They almost got to win this Seattle game here because this part's tough. I don't like the matchup against the Dolphins. The Dolphins' defense is legit, and it's mainly those defenses that are legit because they're pass rush. They're normal, just getting after the quarterback off the edge. The Colts present the matchup problem for those teams. because their tackles and whatever, if they're stunts, their guards can pick them up. They can stop those guys. But the Dolphins defense isn't good because of that. They're good because they create turnovers, and the secondary creates turnovers. I think that's a problem for, especially early in the year, Carson Wentz type team. I do think the Colts would have a pretty successful day running, though, and that could be the difference. So that'd be the rushing attack could be the way to argue the Colts winning this game, perhaps. Colts and Ravens had a great defensive battle last year. I think if it wasn't for a fumble, the Colts might have won that game. Monday night in Baltimore, though, that's a pretty good game. I worry about Lamar getting outside, rushing on the outside. I'm not really worried about the inside run. I think the Colts can kind of handle J.K. Dobbins and company. Monday night in Baltimore, primetime Lamar. Yeah, I'm going to go. It's a really tough stretch. Seattle, Rams, Titans, Dolphins, Ravens. That's extremely tough. Good one here. So finally getting out of that funk there. Colts and Niners, I love this game. It's a really good matchup in my opinion. Pretty even matchup. Similar teams, the way they're run, there. DeForest Buckner versus old team. Some questions at quarterback on both sides, maybe taking care of the football. It depends on who's at quarterback for the 49ers. Even if it's Trey Lance, I think the Colts do a pretty good job keeping him inside, containing him. They're not going to allow him to run, just get loose through the inside either. If it's Garoppolo, I think the Colts secondary, the pressure plus the secondary can create some turnovers. I like the Colts. I like the way they match up in this game. The Niners secondary, I think it's kind of on the decline a little bit. It's solid. It's kind of the same players. You worry about the health a little bit. But, it's not getting better, and the front seven's the best part. But the front seven's really not a factor. It can be, and that could be the difference. I think the Colts offensive line is capable of handling this style of front seven here, and I think Carson Wentz is able to push the ball downfield in this game. I would actually think so if he has time. I'm thinking he does. I like that matchup for the Colts. It's a really good game. So I think it's the second half of the year team. Like I talked about it because of the schedule and because of Carson Wentz. Maybe progressing, kind of hoping, you never know. I can see him playing pretty poor. I can't really see him getting back to that MVP type play, but I can see him getting better. You can't really expect that, that you'd be let down, I think. But yeah, and they beat the Jets there. I think they beat the Jags here. I like where they play the Jags. It's tough playing the Titans twice within the first half of the year. That's real tough draw. Playing the Jags twice in the back half is fantastic because it's a very tough game plan. They can run multiple different systems. We don't have an identity on them. We don't really have film. So I think playing them back half is fantastic because you get those things. Rematch that playoff game. Honestly, the Colts could have won that game. I think both teams were a little sloppy in that game. I'm going to take the Bills at home here. I think probably another shoot. I don't know if the Colts are able to. The Bills can create some turnovers in that game. But they did go on a pretty good streak there. This is a tough stretch right here. We're quick, tough stretch. Buccaneers, I think they'll be able to get some pressure, in unique ways. They got unique ways of getting that. We'll see them line up 3 edge rushers out there at once in a game like this against this offensive line. You see they cause problems for the Packers, and I know the Chiefs' offensive line was beat up, but those two teams with that strategy when they go against the top offensive lines, and I think Brady will be able to. I think you'll be able to beat this secondary, those receivers. I think it's a bad matchup for the Colts, to be honest. I got them 2 on the Texans. Texans could get one. Who knows? Will be at quarterback. Patriots Colts. I think Patriots will be a very tough team this year. Very tough team. But I like the matchup for the Colts. I think they'll stop the run, which the Patriots want to do first. I think they'll be able to get some pressure. That's the thing about the Colts. So I do worry about their edge rush, because I do like Kwity Paye. I think he'll be a factor. It just feels like he's kind of got to carry the group of edge rush. I know DeForest Buckner get the pressure on the inside. So that's something I do worry about. I think the Colts defense will be able to slow the Patriots down enough, and I think they'll be able to. It's a tough one because I could see the Patriots defense, another one. They create turnovers. Will they be creating turnovers in Carson Wentz? I can debate myself on this one. Stick with my initial gut. Go with the Colts. I think Kyler Murray could be a little bit of a problem for them, him getting outside and kind of throwing along the sideline. That seemed to be what beat the Colts secondary. Guys that got outside the pocket and hit that sideline shot against those corners. They're very good at covering underneath. You're asking a lot of the safeties there. It depends on if they continue. I think they'll continue to run similar. That's just their style of play there. I think that could be style of rollout offense. I think is kind of a problem. But I think the Colts could have some success running the ball in this game. I think they could. So that's tough. Raiders, Colts, two balanced teams here. That's a pretty good game there. Yeah, it's balance here in this one. I'm gonna trust the Colts a little more at home on a Saturday ball game here in crunch time leading into the playoffs. It's just a deciding factor there. I'm gonna trust the Colts. And again, I like that they play the Jags twice late and they'll be able to game plan. It's a pretty good game playing team. So a second half of the season team here. It's a tough stretch, but they had a pretty good stretch here. So 10-7, I got them. It's really on Carson Wentz. This is a team that can be pretty rangy. I can see them finishing with a lot less than 10 wins, or maybe a few more here. Kind of going back to best case. I mean, keep in mind some of the teams I had them beating. I had them beating the Seahawks week 1. I don't think they beat the Rams. I don't like the matchups. Honestly, they might have a better shot beating the Ravens and the Dolphins. It is prime time Monday night, though. I did have them beating the Niners. That's a tough one. I had them getting one of the Titans, obviously a tough one. I had them getting both in the Jags. So you see how tough the schedule is. The best case, we can't even change too much here. Maybe they get between the Bills and the Cardinals. I think they might be more likely to get the Bills, honestly. They played pretty well against them last year. They had the game plan different. Phillip Rivers played all right in that game, though. Will Carson Wentz do that? Cardinals, I mean, they could beat the Cardinals. I just don't see them winning 13 games. I think 12 is probably the max for me. I had them at 10. Worst case scenario, if Carson Wentz just blows it pretty much, that's not what we want to hear, but oh yeah, it's a tough schedule. It's a very tough schedule. Worst case could be something I don't see them only winning 6 games, but because of the schedule, it could be around that 6-7 range. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I want somebody offensively. Let's go back to the normal predictions here before I continue on what I'm saying. I had them winning. What do we got here? We got right there. Titans. End up splitting the Titans. 10-7. I want to see somebody on offense. That's what I like about them, though. They're pretty balanced, but they got a number of guys that can play. They got a long list of guys on offense that can play. I want to see that takeover guy. Who is, from not the offensive line, who is going to take over? And they got guys that can do it. Jonathan Taylor's second year. I always liked Marlon Mack. You guys know I'm a big Marlon Mack guy, have been. I don't think he's an elite running back or anything like that, but I love that running back group there. Michael Pittman was pretty impressive rookie year. Who's going to step up, though? Nobody, some guys had good games in that game against the Bills in the playoffs, but they needed somebody to take over and step up in that big moment, So we'll see who that can be. That's what I'm looking for. They got a number of guys that can play, though, so I do like that. Defensively, I'm not really worried about because they got Buckner, Darius Leonard, and a couple guys there. Throughout that defense there, Blackman looked pretty damn good for a rookie last year. He was supposed to be like an upside guy because remember he was a corner turned safety just recently within his Utah career there, later in the Utah career. So that was fantastic that he was able to play that well right away with limited snaps in his career at safety. So that's fantastic. So we'll see. Somebody's got to step up in terms of the edge rush. We'll see how Kwity Paye does his rookie year. Yeah, definitely an interesting team. Definitely a pretty tough team to predict, even though we've been pretty damn accurate on them. Last couple of years. Last year I had them as a seventh seed first round exit. So, but this is a team that's very tough to predict this year, mainly because of Carson Wentz. How is this guy going to play? So we'll see. We will see. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. It's going to do it for the Colts predictions. Titans up, Jags, Texans coming. We got a bunch of teams already on from other divisions. More to come. There's a playlist full of those, so check it out. Smash the like button, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. That's very important there. Link down below. That's going to do it, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.